Hey everybody, what's going on? UltimatDjz here from the Talking Track Podcast, and what we decided to do today was actually recap a little bit of the most recent podcast for you. So we took some of the clips because we felt like this was important for us to be able to talk about here in the community, and we wanted to reach you here on YouTube. So what we've done is we've taken a little bit of the podcast last night and condensed it down into this YouTube video for you to get the information and for you to weigh in. Before we get started, though, please do subscribe to the channel. Click on the little bell notifier so you know about when we do additional new content. Click the little like button, give us a thumbs up, and be sure, most importantly, to leave your comments down below. If you've got questions, we want to answer them for you. So without further ado, here's a little bit from the podcast the other night so that you too can know what is going on. We also do have another Doomsday onslaught. That is the PvP. And speaking of that PvP event, Big, I'm sure that a lot of people have noticed because a lot of people have come to me with this. This week's ticketed events are paying out quintuple the number. Actually, I don't think it was quintuple. Close to double. What were they paying last week? 3? I think they were paying 3 of the Transwarp sales. This week they're paying 5. All right. Now, Clyde says the Doomsday onslaught is stupid. I don't know, man. I actually enjoyed it. I ran out of ran out of tokens. I ran out of Transwarp cells. I would have kept going back, but I ran out. So, well, Clyde says no one was there to PvP early. You know what? That was a slight risk, Clyde. And if I may have to take a little bit of blame for that because I even said, to our listeners, don't go there at event reset. Don't go at event reset because that's when everybody's there to kill everybody else. Okay. Jonathan says I only killed one person while I was there. That's interesting.
It was me.
Yeah, it was Big. That was interesting in your bracket there, Big and Jonathan, because our bracket, because of course there were 2 systems. Now this was interesting. I did notice this. By the way, Ops 32 to 41. They did actually bracket that. And, I had observed at the beginning that the one system was for 42 plus, but the other 2 systems I thought were going to be an either or. It actually wasn't that way. They used it to bracket. So my bracket, I don't know how low it went, maybe 35, maybe 36 to 41 was one system and then another. Now, this was something really interesting that I observed, Big. Okay. Some people say Ops 32 maybe to 36. I don't know exactly what the bracket was. But they were given the other 9 systems to PvE in. They were given the other 9 systems to PvE in. But in their own PvP system, they got double bonus points. Now, here's the interesting thing, all right? If my PvP system was Malton, which it was, okay, then the lower 30s level players, their PvP system was Mezara. Both of those are gated system. And by the way, let me be very clear. Let me spell this out. If my PvP system is Malton, then I only get bonus points for PvE in Malton. Now, if I go to Kulendi, for example, which is in my list. If I go to Kulendi, then I'm hunting worms, and I'm getting 1 point per hull damage, right? Just straight up normal, right, Big? Like, you just go, you kill a hostile. It's the same way as, like, the PvE, PvP hybrid last month. You get the safe zone, right? That's the safe zone, was 1 point. Now, I don't know if messaging is going to get updated, but folks, listen to me here. Learn from this and share it with your teams, all right? The safe system for you may be a PvP system for another bracket. And that's where people got a little bit bent out of shape, all right? Now, I also point out that common sense says don't go to the other PvP system. Because what is the other PvP system going to have on it, Big? All 3 PvP systems are what? They're gated. They're gated. Yeah. All 3 PvP systems are gated. So to me, it was silly to consider the thought that that a 32, for example, would come to Malton. Even though it was listed as a safe system, it was still gated. So I'm not sure why somebody came to the gated system. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you've got one gated system and 8 other that are not gated, and they all give the same number of points, then why would you go to the gated system? I mean, that's my opinion on it. Now, some people argued, said, well, it wasn't spelled out that way. It wasn't communicated that way. And to your point, I will agree that in my event, it says that the PvP Doomsday system is Malton. It does not tell me that Mizara is the PvP system for the lower bracket. And it does not tell me, Big, that Kendi is your PvP system. So I could think that I'm going to fly into Kendi and do PvE at 1 point per hull damage, right? I could. And literally I could. If I flew into Kendi, used a transwarp cell, and I killed worms in that system, then I'm going to get 1 point per hull damage. That's my quote-unquote safe zone. But what actually happened? What actually happened, Big? Anybody that flew into your zone, listen, if a 32 flew into your zone, what did you do about it? If you flew into Kendi, we would kill you. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you will get swapped.
Doesn't matter if you're in their PvP bracket or not. If you fly into that system, you will die. Same thing that happened in my system, okay? My bracket, again, I don't know if it was 35 plus or 36 plus, whatever it was, maybe even 37, I have no clue. But it didn't matter to me. If blue flew into my PvP system, you died. If blue flew into my PvP system, well, you might not have died. I would have at least attacked you, okay? If a 41 flew into my system, I attacked him. If a 32 flew into my system, I would have attacked him, okay? And some people got really bent out of shape. Well, this is my safe zone. This is my safe system. And yes, Scopely may not have communicated that in enough detail. However, now you know. All right, and share this with your teams. All right, and hopefully a lot of people knew that once this started happening. Galvez says any system can be PvP, but not for points. Not for points, not in this event. Okay, and I'm kind of with Claude here. Have a little bit of common sense, folks. I mean, if you have to spend a cell, if you have to spend a Doomsday cell to get into a system, that should be one red flag, even at the beginning of the arc. All right, now, and again, I don't ever assume that everybody listens to my content. I believe everybody should. I believe everybody should consume this content because literally, I mean, we know this stuff coming into day one. Big, we say this. It's in our videos. We did it in our maintenance video, in our very first podcast. We told people these cells were for the PvP event. We said that on day one, right? So I wish everybody listened to the show because I feel like we communicate some things better than Scopely does, you know?
You know, I was like, I couldn't remember. But I think probably the reason why people were coming into your PvP is because even grinding the hostels were worth 2 times points than
only in their PvP system, though, Big. And that's my point.
Not in yours. Not at all. I didn't.
Yes.
I only went to,
you got it. You're exactly right. So, like, your system was Kendi. Okay, your system, Big, was Kendi. If you took a Pike Moreau Chen team into Kendi or whatever you were using, Pike Moreau Talon, whatever, if you went in to kill hostiles in Kendi, then you did get 2 points. All right, it was a danger zone for you. All right, but for me at Ops 39, if I flew into Kendi, it would have been no different than any of the other safe zones because I would have only gotten 1 point. So why would I fly into your PvP system? And why would I spend a cell when the other 8 systems are not gated?
Not required.
That's right. Guys, the tokens,
I'm sure it was a mix-up.
Rude Dude says better damage points. Maybe. So you're saying hit the bigger worms. Is that what your argument is to hit the bigger worms and get more points? Listen, if you went into Kendi, and those were the 46 worms, by the way, which I probably couldn't have even killed. Even if I had used like a Pike Moreau Talon or if I'd used a Leslie to go into Kendi, I would not have gotten the same number of points as if I killed in, say, Doka, I think is the 40 to 41, okay? So you're right, depends on ships, crew, time investment, et cetera, okay? But my point is simply this. Now, if you know it, and if an Ops 39 knows Kendi is the PvP zone for the 43 or 42 plus, and I fly in there anyway, too bad, so sad. Okay, I'm gonna die very quickly. But that wasn't communicated very well. Players wondered why I killed them in that system, and I said, "This is my PvP system. If you're blue, I'm gonna hit you." And they didn't understand. And then I started digging, and golly, the player actually had a legitimate complaint in which their event didn't tell them that Malton was a PvP zone for somebody else. Right? It didn't specifically spell it out in the event. However, we did inform players that the Doomsday cells were going to be used for the PvP gated systems. So again, kind of like what Claude says, maybe just think about it for a second and look around for just a second. and think, why would I be asked to spend a cell? I'm not even getting bonus points, okay? It's a gated system. So be aware of that. And I'm, again, not everybody's going to listen. Not everybody's going to know. You're going to kill somebody. They're going to complain. It's the circle of life in this game, okay? But that's why, just in case you guys are curious, it's not poorly designed. This is the design. But they could have maybe potentially mentioned, hey, P.S., even though your PvP system is Malton, be aware that Mizara is the PvP system for somebody else. Or I guess they could have listed, maybe to get around that, you could have listed all three in the event description, right? You could have said 32 to 36 is Mizara, 37 to 41 is Malton, and 42 plus is Kendi. You could have potentially done that to eliminate a little confusion, and I'll still recommend it. Absolutely. I will still recommend that in the event description. But just be aware, in case that messaging is not communicated, that's it. Don't use PvP cells to go do PvE for a different bracket unless it's your danger zone, okay? Just saying. To come back full circle, and I am excited for its return. Now, some people said that they didn't get a lot of PvP. It was definitely slow in my bracket, but I dedicated some time to it, Clyde. I sent my ship. Nobody was there. I would wait till somebody came in. People did eventually come in, either on purpose or by mistake. All right, because I did kill plenty of blues that asked me why I killed them. Okay, and then, of course, some people did come into PvP with me, and I died, and I won.
Are we sure that wasn't Scopely's design? To draw in people unsuspecting so PvPers could kill them?
I don't know. It's very devilishly devious if it was, and I kind of like it. Okay, I kind of like it because, again, we've always talked about needing more targets in PvP. You know, people don't typically come out and waste resources and waste speed ups and all this. Okay, so I do like the PvP, but yeah, I did have to spend a little bit of time with it, Clyde. I had to dedicate some people or dedicate my ship to being in that system because I didn't want to go there and waste a cell and then recall out. I would stay until I could either kill or be killed. All right, so anyway, obviously, these systems are not probably just jammed up with ships. Okay, you're going to have to send a ship there, and maybe you have to wait around for a little bit. By the way, there's no shame in going to lose, all right, because this event gives points for damage. All right, so players who think they don't have a chance, let me share you a quick little hint. Anybody, give me a high-intensity damage crew real fast. How about a Sally? Cheap to repair for upper level players, okay? If an Ops 32 wants to come up and play in my system, how about a Sally with Gorkon Kurla Harrison or Gorkon Kurla Khan, maybe? Well, maybe not Khan, doesn't have enough time. But listen, something that's going to get you real good damage real quick, okay? Real good damage real quick, because guess what? You're going to get a boatload of points off my Enterprise, or a boatload of points off my Augur, because the more hull damage you can do, how about the new TOS Uhura, maybe, by chance? That is diverting more damage straight to hull and away from shields. Guys, this is a crazy combination, a crazy thought, but what about that original Borg officer, 1 of 10, who also shifts more damage to your hull than from shields? Jonathan Ingram says, how about some anti-mitigation? Yeah, how about you stack that triangle up against me so that I am mitigating less damage, therefore more damage coming to my shield and hull. There are absolutely crews that you can utilize to actually get a boatload of points even if you die. So you can say I'm just going to die, it doesn't help me. That's incorrect. This is not a kill event, okay? This is not a kill event. This is a damage event. So even if you feel like you're going to lose, listen, I'll tell you right now, on server 15, I'm flying my Augur. You want to go against an Augur? How about a Sally with maybe Gorkon, perhaps Sharvanik, and Harrison, perhaps. Okay, maybe. Look and see what's in your system. And then be able to adjust your own crew to go up and get some points. And maybe you don't want to do it a bunch of times. The leaderboard was not crazy busy, so perhaps you do that 2 or 3 times, land some good hull damage, and you're in a really good position. You could finish in the top 10 by slamming a Sally. A Sally, okay, not an expensive ship to repair for an Ops 34 or 35 or 36. Okay, just saying. There's ways you can get on that leaderboard easily because it wasn't a wildly participated in event. Nobody sat in that system for 72 hours just waiting, right? Gregor, did you send a ship, or Big, did you send a ship for 72 hours and just sit there? Oh, you
No.
I mean, no. All right. Hopefully
No,
somebody
I didn't
came
say-
in and took you out, and then you probably thought, man, I don't want to dedicate my ship to that system for another 3 hours. I'm not going to go back. All right.
Yeah, it was like not very active at all.
It like I said, my bracket maybe was a little bit more so. I did get some kills, but it wasn't nonstop PvP for 72 hours. It was incidental PvP. So again, hey, even Fat Man says right there, I'm thinking more about punching up, the suicide. And by the way, to Jonathan Ingham's point, won't that give your opponent more points? Is it your opponent if they're in a different bracket? Listen, that's my key, guys. If you want to try to get some points, then go up against a larger ship in your PvP system by somebody who's not in your bracket, okay? Does that require a partner? Maybe. All right. But, I mean, you can use that opportunity to test some crews. You can use that. I mean, and again, I'm not saying organize it. I'm not saying trade kills. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying if I fly in to a gated system that's not my PvP bracket, make me pay. Make me pay. Because I'm not going to get points in your bracket, so you're not going to give me points, all right? But Blokimon says, but then you kind of are screwing over your alliance mates. I don't like that model. And sure, there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons. I'm just saying there are ways for people to score, all right? And that's hopefully could be a fun event. And obviously, there's still a very heavy PvE component. Kill the worms, all right? And you can get points. And I know people were grinding those worms. Those worms, Big, they ain't no joke, are they? I didn't grind worms very long. It's an expensive grind, all right? And one PvP kill arguably cost me the same. I mean, but it's much faster. A PvP kill or maybe 2 PvP kills would get me more points than maybe 2 or 3 hulls grinding on the worms. So Jonathan says, are there multiple brackets for Kendi? I don't think that there are. I think you're just 42 plus. All right, I think you're just 42 plus. So in some of the other brackets, there could be some other players playing around.
No, I think our bracket might have just been 46 and above, but I could be remembering the TOS.
Well, if it was 46, then maybe there was another bracket because 42 plus were shuffled into Kendi. So just so you're aware.
I also think we have some kind of gentleman's agreement going on because if I saw people with hostile kills, hostile crews, we weren't killing each other.
Well, maybe some servers are saying, hey, PvP's dumb. Let's just come in here and grind. Okay. Whatever you and your server want to do. And I'm not saying upset the apple cart. I'm just saying there's multiple ways to play in that event. However you decide you want to do it is completely cool. There's no right or wrong way to play that event. Like I said, I did mine with a combination of PvP and PvE and was still able to place decently. And I didn't do a ton of PvP. So, but to the PvPers, and this kind of circles back to what I'm talking about with the ticketed events, the number of Doomsday cells this week have been ramped up to 5. So if you do one ticketed event every day this week, you're going to go into this weekend. And if you had none to start on Monday, if you spent them all, you're going to go into this Friday's event with 15 cells. 15 cells is plenty to go in and do a little PvP. I mean, if you want more, you can get more. But, I mean, I don't know that I would fly into that system 15 times. Big, would you? I don't think I'd fly in there 15 times myself. Man, Big, and we'll wrap up with this. That leaderboard was sweet, right? In the dilithium. I can only imagine it scaled for you guys. For me, it was a very nice chunk of dill. So I don't know. I hope that looked useful to a lot of people, but man, it was very attractive to me. I mean, 10th place was 40 million dilithium. Plus, have any 39 level players ever had the access to 4-star rare gas and 4-star epic gas? Not to mention, even the 3-star rare and uncommon was a very nice payout. I don't know what it looks like at some of the smaller level ops or smaller ops numbers, but the payout looked good to me. What do you think, community? I'd like to get your feedback, so leave your comments in the section below. Like this video, and be sure to click on the subscribe button. Click the little bell notifier, too, to be notified of future content that's coming your way. That way you are always in the know. My name is UltimatDjz. This has been another Teaching Trek video. We'll see you next time. Love you, mean it. Bye-bye.